Welcome back to Mr. Smith Garage. I'm so stoked to have you here in the garage with me today. A lot of projects go on, as you can see. The content that I put out there so far on Mr. Smith Garage is just a lot of different things that I'm working on. I'm going to take you around the garage real quick so that you can see what we're talking about. So the project that I'm working on right now is these two 95, 96 XP Sea-Doos, 787 motors. Let me see if we can see those in there. Nice and clean. I picked them up. They were pretty clean. This motor is actually a new motor, a new rebuilt motor, but it's got some problems down inside the internal guts of it. So bought it from a guy in, I want to say it was like in Illinois, the motor, and didn't have a core because if you can see down here, that is my core. And I'll show you a little bit later, the bottom of it blew out because it started missing some oil for some reason, got some kind of a clog or whatever. This one seems to run pretty decent. It's got decent compression. You know, they go about 50 miles an hour, 50 to 55 on the water. But I do have some work that I'm going to do on this one. The intake manifold is it's just got the bolts are just completely frozen in on that one for the carburetors. And so my plan is to use this manifold off of this motor because it'll come off just fine and replace. Got my 81 Westy. That's jack. We got one axle off, kind of in the middle of that whole axle process. I've got the axle redone. Actually, if you saw it here, sitting right here down, ready to go. Repacked, new boots, just ready to go on to the white 82 Vanagon. We were working on the Porsche. I think the last one I put up there was I got a brake pad light, and so we replaced the sensors on the front. Also kind of tightened up the wheels because they were just a little bit loose, still rocking. Still have the light on for on the dash for this one. And so next step on it would be to do the rear brakes. And so that's kind of going to be my next step is order those rear brake. I'm going to just replace the rotors, pads, and sensors. And I don't know if some of you noticed on that first video on the front, I did not have those clips that hold the wires. And so the wires are just kind of loosey-goosey in there. As long as they're not rubbing against the wheel and against the brake, I feel confident that they're okay. But I am going to order those clips so that I can put the clips in and we won't have the same problems. So rear brakes are similar. Got a sensor in there. Looks like I might have the clips in the back, but we're going to just replace these rotors, pads, maybe even the handbrakes, which are on the inside of that rotor. Anyway, yeah. The 1990 S2 is looking pretty snappy. It's raining outside. Actually, we got a little bit of snow this last week, and but I wanted to keep you up to date on what's going on. First steps we need to do in here is kind of pull. I'm going to pull off the carburetors, kind of get them out and about. Then we'll pull off this exhaust manifold. And then we'll pull the engine out. Got the battery out already. Trying to get that charging. That battery is not happy. I don't know if it's just because it has been sitting here, but it is a lithium battery, so I'm hoping that it's still good. But that's kind of next things we're going to be doing on this one. So once again, these are 96 XPs. Love them. Rode them one season. Had a great time. Ended up blowing this motor, getting a new motor, getting it in. Ran great for a season. Last year just did not have a lot of time to work on them, and ended up realizing that I've got some internal things that I need to do to this engine. So we're going to try and capture some of that on the Mr. Smith Garage channel. So please, if you're into, Sea-Doos, Vanagons, Porsche, got a Nissan and a Honda that occasionally need some work, but just love to have you support the channel by subscribing, and trying to do at least a video each week. I've got a video that I'm going to post, I believe, tonight or tomorrow morning, but you'll see those each week come out. So subscribe if you enjoy the channel. Give me some comments. I'd love to hear what other people have going on. If you've had similar problems with this engine, like I said, new rebuilt, it's probably got less than 10 hours on it, and it's blowing oil out the cylinders when I try to start it. And so sounds like I've got either maybe a leaky oil injection pump system, or there's a leak in the bottom bearing. I'm going to do some research while I'm going through this project, but figured the first thing I need to do is start taking off, taking the carburetors out and getting some of that stuff done. And so that's kind of what we're working on today. Actually, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure that we seal off our fuel line. You can see I've got some oil issues down there. Hopefully you can see that. Got some oil leakage, so I'm not sure where that's coming from. I replaced lines, and so maybe I've got a line that's loose. We're going to try and take care of that as well once we get this thing out of here. Pull the engine out of it. I've got to take these lines off for the throttle. You can see those moving down there. I'm going to take those lines off, clip off our fuel lines, and that's my return line. So right now, what you probably can't quite see down here is I am pulling off these clips that are, really like these clips, but they're very hard to get off, but they seal everything really well. And so always happy to use them, get them back on there, but they make it difficult to get those off. I would recommend, if you do have an XP like this, that you change your fuel lines. I'm sure you've seen that if you follow any kind of things, but I did change all of my fuel lines to a new rubber fuel line. These are the clips I'm talking about. I love these clips. They're just kind of a pain to get off. Try to stick that return line up there somewhere. Let's see, our feed line is back here. And I usually clamp it. Clamped, good. Using a 10mm wrench to get these throttle lock sections undone. Wish I did have a better way to get this camera in here. Let's see here. We got, so see, here's what I'm working on right here. It sits right in there. And then there's one on the back here too. We got to loosen this and then take that off. Let's see if we can do this one-handed. just a little bit. Then we do the inside one. So I don't know if you've noticed from any of the videos yet, but I am left-handed. Doesn't seem to cause too many problems for me because I'm somewhat ambidextrous and can do things with both left and right, but sometimes getting in and out of these little tight spaces poses some challenges. What I'm doing now is putting the nuts back on the little cable ends because I want to make sure I don't lose those when I end up pulling off like I'm working right now on the choke cable. So the choke cable has a really small, I'll tell you once I get the right one, it might be a 2 millimeter that's on the back side of this. Let's see if it's 2. It might be even smaller than that. No, it's 2. So a 2 millimeter Allen go on the back side of this side. Okay. Let's see if I can show you that again. Here's your choke cable, and it connects in through these two, and then also connects here. On the back side of these, there's, like I said, a 2 millimeter Allen that holds it in there. And now we're ready to remove our larger Allens to take the carburetors off. These are original Mikuni carburetors, and I did get some original Mikuni carburetor kits to rebuild them. Like I was saying on the other one, I had to rebuild those carburetors as much as possible on the ski, inside the ski, because the carburetor bolts on that one are actually, like, I can't get them off. So now that I have this extra engine with an extra manifold on it, I'm trying to figure out how to cut them off inside the ski, if I can figure out a way, or if I can even just break them off. I just want to make sure I don't ruin anything on the carburetors. And there is the pump that I need to, before I can pull these carburetors off, I got to get this pump hose off that goes into the case. It's an important thing to take off. I actually broke one of them, had to buy a new pump. So keep in mind, you got to get this pump off. Just make sure you don't bend it too much one way or the other off the carburetor, because that piece, while it wasn't expensive, it was kind of difficult to find. So I'm going to show you that so you can see what I'm talking about down here. So this is the pump, goes to the case. This piece right here, you just got to make sure you don't break it when you pull it off. So kind of important. All right, I've got all the bolts. Pull those off. I'm trying to think if I'm missing anything. I don't think I am, but sometimes I just wonder. It's been a year since I pulled the carburetors off of these bad boys. So Those look good. One carburetor off. Two carburetors off. See if anything else is connected. Ah, the bottom fuel line. Gotta make sure I do that. And my throttle cable is connected as well. Might have a little bit of fuel leakage here. Just make sure you don't light a match. You're not smoking. That would be bad. I've seen some videos of people that have had just horrible accidents with gasoline and fuel, so don't want to do that. I'm gonna get that last clamp off of here. If you're doing a fuel line replacement, it might be easier for you to just cut these lines. They can be kind of a bear. What I like about these clamps is that they're just, you know, they're solid on there. What I don't like about them is that they're solid on there. Yeah, they're kind of hard to get off. But we don't really want leaking fuel, right? So sometimes it can be important to keep that on. There we go. Fuel line off. Once again, really good clamp. It wouldn't let go of that front one, so. And here are my Mikuni carbs, looking nice and clean. All right, so you can see down here, real clean. I've got some junk down below there. I think that might be seaweed from, I don't know what, from just goop and junk. It's not metal, so that's good. I got my fuel lines all clamped off. Gotta get this oil line off. It doesn't look like the oil line is leaking from there. It might be leaking from somewhere else. Looks like it might be leaking right from the oil reservoir here. Quite a bit of oil around that. So, the guy that I bought the engine from said it could either be the oil injectors leaking, or a bottom seal in the crank leaking. I'm looking here and it doesn't look like I've got any buildup of oil. Oh, wait a minute, look at that. Maybe I do have a buildup of oil in there. Can you see that? So, could have some oil injector leakage. Because that's a lot of oil sitting there. That is not fuel. Let's see if I can get this light to shine in there while I'm... So you can also see what's going on. Yeah, it's definitely oil. So, could be my oil injectors leaking. Well, that was good to see, because maybe it is just the oil injectors and I don't have to break open the case. If it's the oil injectors leaking, then I need to do a little bit of research on that to see what I need to do to fix it. Maybe I'll post this as kind of an initial video of what we're looking at, trying to fix, and see if I get any comments on what to do from you, my viewers. So subscribe, like, comment, please. Feel free. I have not worked on, well, before 2 years ago, never worked on anything like this. I worked on lawnmower engines when I was a kid, but nothing like these bad boys. But 2 years ago, these were not in running condition, and most of the things that I did to get them running were electrical. So when it comes to the motors, you know, it's like any motor except for the fact that it's oil injected and it's a rotary. It's not like any other motor. So please feel free to tell me what you think I should do. Thank you. And thank you for subscribing to Mr. Smith's Garage. And hope you have a great day. Look forward to the next video.